Welcome to Hannah's Heart.
So Hannah, she's just one of the women who did struggle with infertility in the Bible.
No matter who we are, we can be inspired by the fact that Hannah took her pain to God, and God heard her and was with her.
So when she was praying at the temple, she had been weeping and not eating, and her lips were moving, but her eyes were closed, and the priest was like, "Hey, why are you drunk at the temple?"
It can become an obsession when you want
wanting
a child so deeply.
and desiring that baby and to be a mama. Every holiday, every Mother's Day.
This is not a show that's going to promise you a certain outcome, but this is a show that says, however God answers your cry, we know that He's enough.
Hey, I'm Ann.
And I'm Kendra, and you're listening to Hannah's Heart on American Family Radio. We are a radio show and podcast for couples struggling with infertility or miscarriage, child loss. If you are going through the process of fostering or adopting or fertility treatments, we want to walk through this crazy journey with you and let you know that God is enough. He's there for you, and you can trust Him.
That's
and
right.
hey, we'd like to connect with you at hannahsheart@afa.net. We'd love to hear your story, know how to pray for you, and any questions you have or things you'd like to hear us talk about on the show.
Yes, we always, I love to get the emails to be praying for people because we really do. We have people call in and we pray for them over the phone. And then to get the praise reports back, that's always so encouraging. But then, to have people to write in and say, hey, you could cover this. Hey, husbands need to be represented more, those kind of things.
So important.
I think so.
And encouraging to us.
Right. Well, and it just lets us know that you're here and you're listening and involved in all the things.
We're not speaking to the wall.
That's right. Because sometimes it can feel that way. But we've been blessed to grow a small community here locally of a group of ladies who meet together a few times a year to just encourage each other and to share each other's burdens, just like God's word says to. So we appreciate y'all doing that. Today, we are getting ready to launch our second Bibles for Babies week. That's coming up this coming week.
What is it, Ann? Who, what, when, why, where, and how? Tell us all of the things.
Bibles for Babies.
Let's start with what? What is Bible for Babies?
What is Bibles for Babies? So we came up, if you've been listening long to Hannah's Heart, you know that in 2023 that Will and I lost our sweet baby boy, John Micah, in July of that year. And when July 2024 felt like it was creeping up pretty quickly after, each month almost, I don't know, the days would seem to drag by, but then all of a sudden I would look back and be like, oh my goodness, it's been a month. Oh my goodness, it's been 6 months, and so, goodness, I don't even know. When you think about things like that and you remember how hard that was to walk through, some of it seems to be things that fade away in memories, and then all of a sudden grief will hit you like a, freight train when you're not ready for it. But as the time was approaching of getting close to being a year, my mama heart had to do something, just wanted to do something. And so I came to the leadership with the idea of AFA doing something, Hannah's Heart being a part of doing something to honor John Micah's life. And I was so honored that they said, what are you thinking? And I was like, I don't know. But I felt like the Lord was putting it on my heart. We highly encourage people here to support pregnancy resource centers. And the one here in Tupelo is called Parkgate Pregnancy Center. And it's near and dear to my heart. I worked for Parkgate for a few years, and my pastor's wife is now the director there. And if you've listened to Hannah's Heart the last few years, you might have heard Andrea even share her story of child loss, her sweet boy, Judah.
She's the director of the local pregnancy.
Correct. Yeah, she's the director of Parkgate. And her sweet boy, Judah, he passed away when he was 3 years old. And his birthday is in July, just like John Micah's. And so after talking to her, I was like, what could we do? Is there something that we could do as a Hannah's Heart community or family to support Parkgate? And so she said, well, actually, this is a new idea that we've started doing. This was in 2024, but they started providing each woman who comes in and has a positive pregnancy test, whether they come back for more appointments at Parkgate or not. Their first appointment with Parkgate with a positive pregnancy test, they get a New Beginner's Bible. That is a children's Bible that they provide for them as like their first baby gift. Because a lot of times, we think of crisis pregnancy centers as like, it's hard to think about crisis pregnancy centers when you're struggling to conceive a baby yourself, right? Or when you've lost a baby or had miscarriages. It's hard to think about yourself being in that setting. And I totally get that. I was walking through infertility when I worked for Parkgate. And so it was hard to hear women who possibly, weren't wanting to be pregnant, to hear those stories and like, you're pregnant right now. Like you have what I want, and so I understand how it might be hard for listeners to want to support a pregnancy center, but we have been so encouraging to our listeners to go out and to support your local pregnancy centers because, everybody's hard looks different. And we need to remember that those, most of the time, young ladies who are walking into those resource centers, pregnancy resource centers, they're walking through something hard right now because a lot of times those girls are young and they're not knowing what to do. It's, could be a pastor's daughter who just made a really bad decision. And now what is she supposed to do? How embarrassing is that? Or it's, someone who feels like I can't afford a baby right now, and we know that every single life is sacred and made in the image of God, and that we are called to be there for that support. And so that's where Bibles for Babies was born. They had a girl come in for a crisis pregnancy. She came in, had a positive pregnancy test, and they gave her one of these New Beginner's Bible. She, from what I understand, she
has nice little pictures.
Yes,
in it, tells some of the basic stories.
I had one or a few growing up,
Yep.
and now my kids do. But she had never read the Bible. And from what I'm told, she took the Bible home that day and read it to her little belly, so that baby in her belly. And she read through the whole Bible that day. And she came back to Parkgate the next day and said, I want to know Jesus.
That's amazing.
I want my baby to learn these stories. I want to make better decisions for my baby than the decisions that were made for me. And so when I heard
babies, you're saving lives.
Yes,
souls.
and what better gift than the Word of God to these young moms, And so as hard as it may be to think about helping out a pregnancy resource center when we're, our listeners are possibly walking through miscarriage or needing money for IVF right now, it costs $10 to buy one of those Bibles for a mama in need, for a mama who might not have ever had a Bible before, and for that to be the first baby gift that she were to get. It was just inspiring to me when I heard that, and I thought, what better way to honor my sweet baby's life than to know that we're going to be providing God's holy word for these babies.
I love that, Anne. If you guys are just now tuning in, she's been talking about the Bibles for Babies campaign. This is unique to Hannah's heart. This is our baby.
This is our baby.
This is something that God birthed in your heart. And again, just like she said, every $10 donation will provide one Bible for a mama that has an unexpected pregnancy. Right. And when she decides to keep that baby, she needs Jesus.
We all need Jesus. Right.
It's so important. But starting on August 24th at the time of this airing on the radio, it's Saturday, but starting on Sunday night, you can call 877-616-2396, or you can go to afr.net and just click on the little Bibles for Babies ad that's going to pop up, and that's where you can go to donate. And what I love about this is you kind of mentioned that there's different kinds of hard.
Yeah.
most of our audience, we want to bring this to you guys first. You're hearing about it. It's going to be on AFR all next week. But we want to come to you first because there's something that happens in our spirits and our souls when in the middle of our heart and our grief and our desire to hold a baby, we can give something to another mom.
That's right.
It's like it breaks the bonds of jealousy and woe is me. And it's okay to grieve. Believe me, we talk about that on our show.
And we're not saying that it's going to go away because you donate.
But it helps you to think about somebody else and to take your eyes off of just your situation for a moment and allow God to continue that healing process in your heart. We've had some listeners that have said that they wanted to donate $10 for every child that they have or every child that they've lost if they have a baby that's in heaven. And I think that's a beautiful way for our listeners to honor the babies that you go, nobody even knew that I had this life that came and went, and I don't even know how to talk about it. Here's a way for you to honor their legacy, just like what you've done with John Micah.
Well, I love that. And we had Dr. Nurse Mama, who has her own program on AFR. If y'all haven't listened to her, you should go. She's
amazing.
Yes, she is called Dr. Nurse Mama because she's a doctor and she's a mama. But she has super good, helpful tips and stuff like that. But she shared with us that she has had a few miscarriages, and then she has 4 kiddos on this earth. And so she donated in honor and in memory of those lives that are now in heaven, and then her kids that are here. And so I just thought that was beautiful, and it inspired Will and I. We decided that is part of what we wanted to do. It just to give in memory or in honor of our kiddos in heaven and here on earth.
Well, and it's neat to just have a chance to say John Micah's name again and to this be a part of his legacy. I love that the way that you chose to remember him is in a way that's going to have an eternal impact. It just reminds me of Joseph in the Bible, the story of, his brothers tried to throw him, and he went through everything. He gets, wrongly accused, and he gets thrown in prison. And then at the end of the whole thing, he says, what you intended to harm me, the Lord intended for my good, for the saving of many lives. And not at all that the Lord caused your loss, but I just love that you're looking for God to redeem for the saving of many lives, many souls, because of what you're doing. And I love when you came to me with the idea, I was like, yes. You're like, what do you think? I'm like, what can I possibly think? It's an amazing idea. And I love that as Hannah's Heart, we get to do that. And how much did we raise last year? Do you remember?
We raised right at a little over $10,000.
Which that's
a lot of Bibles.
That's insane. That's a lot of little lives touched. Again, you can go to afr.net starting on August the 24th.
That's right.
And click to donate for $10 for a Bible. We would like to exceed that this year.
That would be so
We
fun.
would love for them to be like, oh my goodness, you've given us too much, and to have to bless other pregnancies. We chose to start with this local pregnancy because you have to start somewhere. And
the local pregnancy center.
Yes, it's here in Tupelo. And you know what? If the Lord expands this ministry, we'd love to see it be national. Have
For sure.
Bibles for babies all over the nation. That would be amazing.
And we did talk about that last year. If you feel more led to donate to your local pregnancy center, totally go for that. I love that. We might not know about that donation unless you call and just let us know. So we would not see that donation come through because our donations will go to Parkgate Pregnancy Center here in Tupelo. But totally encouraging anyone who would like to donate, and they might not have Bibles that you're donating for, but if that's your way of honoring your babies or the babies that you long for, just finding a neat way to do that. I encourage anyone. You can totally get creative with that, and I know God will use that, and it's blessed me, and I'm glad that I get to be a part of it. It is crazy, Kendra. So we have a 5-year-old at home.
Oh, and my goodness.
Which is nuts. But he will randomly ask to watch Hannah's Heart, okay? Yes, and so he asked for that, actually, at the time of this recording, yesterday afternoon.
I love it.
He asked to watch Hannah's Heart, and I don't know why. Maybe just
probably comforting to hear
the
your
Lord.
voice.
Well, he loves to see Miss Kendra, Eliana's mama, though, is how he refers to you.
God, of course. That's my favorite title.
But it came, the first one that popped up. I didn't know which one it was. I saw it was me and you. And I clicked on it, It didn't have the date or anything, but it was the one where we were asking for prayer for John Micah.
Oh, wow.
And I had never watched that episode or listened to that episode. But of course, like once it started playing and I realized, I was like, oh wait, I'm pregnant here. I'm talking about John at the time. Yeah, I was pregnant with John Micah, and I think that was the first time we were talking about it on air. And so it is, to know that the Lord answered those prayers in way different ways than what I was wanting and, thinking about that day. And I think even you, because you were so encouraging during that episode of, we're going to be praying for you, and you prayed over me that day for healing for John Micah. And even if that meant surgery, or because at the time we had gotten some, I wasn't sad about it at the time. I just was like, okay, as a mama, I need to figure out what hospital we're going to go to, where we're going to go, what procedures we're going to do. Like, that was like, I'm doing this. We're going to be okay. And I think I even talked about it on the program, because you were like, so how are you emotionally? And I was like, I'm fine. We're going to do this. We're going to handle this, and everything's going to be okay. And how naive of me. I was very naive. Now knowing that his healing came through perfect healing through Jesus and through going to his eternal home. He did not have to face surgery. He did not, have to go through the things that we were thinking that he was going to have to go through. Still, I don't know how to say it wasn't the healing that I was wanting, because now it's like, he's perfect.
Yeah.
And how could I ever wish for him here? No. But selfishly, I'm like, that's not what I was praying for.
I remember, we had an AFA conference here in that, I think it was the week before.
It was a few weeks.
It was
before.
Not long.
Yeah.
And we had just done that episode and asked our listeners to please be praying for John Micah. And then I was like, look, there were thousands of people at this conference. I was like, we're not losing an opportunity to have them pray over my friend. So I encourage you. I was like, we're going to ask them to.
You did. And I was like, are you sure,
Kendra? And pray for you, because I just knew you had a little bit of a journey ahead of you with John Micah. And I remember when I got the news about him, struggling with a little anger in my heart, because I was like, what was the purpose of having all of those people pray? And I thought in my mind that all of these people are going to be a part of your miracle, of, bringing him home. And that's what that's going to look like. And we've asked people, thank you for our audience who have prayed for us. We cannot thank you enough.
Yeah, for sure.
For all of the prayers you have that's part of why we do this show, is so that you guys will pray for our families. Let's be real. And our producers who... we got to give a shout out to one of our producers, Mark, who said he prays for our families like every day. That brings me to tears, y'all. But the Lord told me later, when I was wrestling with this anger, he said, do you think I knew what was going to happen for her family? Do you think I can't credit unto her family all the prayers that you didn't even know? They didn't know exactly what they were praying for when they reached out their hands, but God knew that your family needed to be covered. Yeah. And I don't know exactly how it works, but I think it was credited into your family for those next few hard weeks.
I for sure do. Thinking about how hard that was to walk through, and to be honest with you guys, how hard every day is to walk through. Literally, Mark told me this morning, I didn't even know he had come into our room last night. He has a sleeping bag that he knows he can grab, and he can come lay it on the floor, because he's too big to get in the bed with us now. I'm like,
just anymore, you little
if you need to come in here, so he brought his sleeping bag. I woke up and I was like, oh, there's Mark. Anyway, he told me the reason he woke up last night is because he had a dream about John Micah, and he said that they were getting to play together. He said, just like I've always wanted to, I want to get to play baseball with him. Oh. And so he was telling me, he said he looked just like Nora. He even had curly hair. And so I think it's
what a beautiful.
It's so sweet. I know, because I was like, God, I want to have a dream like that. God does have, he still is so sweet in those, and
God winks, even on your hardest journeys ever.
Yes, he's still there. And I definitely think he's used and is continuing to use those prayers because of everything that our families walked through. And I really, when I say, like, I don't think our marriage would be the same if we hadn't have already been covered in prayer, because we talk to each other, and we, like, he loved me at his worst, and I have loved him at my worst, and vice versa. I've loved him at his worst,
Well, and what was the stat? Didn't you say it was something like 90%?
It's over 90%, I think,
of couples
92%.
that divorce if there's a child loss.
Yes. Yeah.
And you've not only had child loss, but you've had miscarriage after miscarriage and then a child loss.
Right.
And just the fact that you guys love each other and your family, that I would say, I know it's every day's hard, but you're thriving when you compare yourself to the way the world handles grief is a testament to God. If you're just listening, you guys, Bibles for Babies, AFR.net. You can call 877-616-2396 starting on August 24th to make your donation to Bibles for Babies. But I want to jump back into John Micah's legacy. So this is year 2 of grieving. We talked off air a little bit about how this year maybe was surprisingly hard.
It was.
Anybody who is dealing with loss maybe has already had 1 year and they're creeping up on number 2. Talk about that, if you would, and prepare us.
I was told by a friend of mine that I mentioned, Andrea, who I mentioned at the beginning of the episode. She's like, year 1, of course, was hard. But she said, year 2, I got mad. And she said, because year 1, it's like just totally like, oh, it's my first birthday without him. Oh, it's my first this without him. Oh, it's his first time to miss, just different things, whatever we're talking about. Family pictures. It's our first time to get family pictures done, and he's not here, But then that year starts over. Nothing's new now. People, we have had such wonderful support and friends and family, but people do get on with their lives, and they expect you to as well. And, and so you can tell that how you've been protected from things, and people have, not that I wanted people to tiptoe around me, but
you're numb at the beginning.
Yes.
And that numbness dulls the pain a little bit in
Yes.
some ways.
Yes.
And then that numbness wears off.
Right. And you can tell people, kind of, it's just a little different. I don't even know how to say it, but I did not expect year 2 to feel as hard as harder than year 1. Year 1 was almost like a celebration. We did, I know it sounds weird to say, but every month we got donuts because we tried to think of something fun or sweet to do for Mark and Jane on John Micah. So the 17th of each month we went and got donuts and said, John Micah would have been 2 months, 3 months, 4 months old, And so then obviously after the year mark, we stopped doing that on the 17th. And so, but once we made it to that 12-month mark, it was oh, now we get balloons and more donuts, and everybody's going to come over and we're all going to blow out a candle. And so, but yeah, getting ready for year 2 to do that, and just, thinking about how he would be. As I was making birthday breakfast that morning, I just thought, he would be running around my feet right now.
And what party would you be
Right.
planning? That's what I was thinking all day.
Yep.
What did you feel any expectation from others about how you should respond? Did you have anybody oh, well, it's did you receive less comfort with year 2?
That's what I'm kind of meaning.
Okay.
It was kind of a protection that I feel people had for us for year 1.
They're thinking about you on year 1.
Okay, it's her first Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay, it's the first Valentine. Let's say something, we'll
gotcha.
acknowledge, and all that kind of ends. The text messages on the 17th of the month ended. There was.
So if you know somebody who's grieving and it's about to be year 2, lean into that.
Yes,
What would you have
yes.
liked to have heard? Just somebody remember and acknowledge?
Yes, just to remember. It's amazing what one text will do, and just say, hey, I thought about you today. Don't ever think, oh, I might bring it up. She might not be thinking about her I hate to say lost child. I know where he is.
Yeah.
Her child who passed away. If I text her right now, she might be fine, and I might mess her up. And that's not true. That's not true. Just the fact for someone saying, hey, I passed John Micah's special place today because where he's buried. And I thought about you.
We've sent that text.
Yes, you have
times.
definitely. And it is crazy how much that means to
Eliana all the time talks about it. You did something really special. I know we're almost out of show, but you had us decorate rocks this year in honor of him and take him to a special place. So Eliana actually got to go there.
Yeah.
And
it was so sweet. Mark and Jane still talk about that they got to have friends and they got to show their friends John Micah's special place. And some people might be uncomfortable with that, and I totally get it. And I was very understanding if any of my friends didn't feel comfortable doing that. But to share John Micah's special place, if you get invited, you know that you're a special person.
I loved it. It was a precious day.
It was. And those rocks will be there for a long time, decorated all kinds of different ways. But anyway, thanks you guys for giving me the opportunity for getting to talk about John Micah again. And I hope that, you get encouraged to help with Bibles for Babies or find your own way to remember your babies and bring honor to their lives, because they deserve to be remembered.
Amen. Well, one more time, that's afr.net. And thank you guys for listening to Hannah's Heart.